Don't be a cuck. All right, I know, yes, Josh is over here using offensive language to make a point, but I've got a really good point. We're going to get into it right after this on the Manlihood Mancast.
You can be a man of courage, of honor, of integrity. You can be the father, the husband, the leader that your family and your community needs. This is the Manlihood Mancast. Here's your host, Josh Hatcher.
Gentlemen, welcome to the Manlihood Mancast. I'm your host, Josh Hatcher. And listen, before we get into the meat and potatoes of today's episode, I've got a little bit of housekeeping. We need to do a couple items of business we need to talk about. The first one is I want to introduce you to this product right here. This is the Manlihood Apothecary Dirty Beard Oil. And my buddy at Hemp Mafia has put this together. It's the CBD oil with cinnamon and lemon and citrus and rosemary and a few other things in it. That's really good for your beard. It's going to help promote beard growth. There's been studies on CBD oil and what that can do for the growth of your beard. It's also going to condition your beard and make your beard healthier and stronger. And it's going to make it smell good. And actually, there's antibacterial properties in the oils that are contained in this, which are going to help keep your beard clean. So if you want your lady to appreciate that massive hair on your face, then you need to take care of it. Because if you don't, she's going to just want you to shave it off. And we don't want anybody to have to shave off their beard because their wife doesn't like it. If you take care of it and you make it smell good, she's going to like it. I promise. Okay, I can't promise, but we're going to try, right? So again, if you go to the Manlihood store and check out the beard oil, we've got it there available for you. This is a limited run, so depending on how well you guys do, if you guys like this is a product we'll carry even further. So we've got a limited run to try it out, and let's see what happens. If you like it, we'll continue to supply it, but we're going to see what we can do with it. So check it out. Again, go to manlihood.com/store. The other thing I want to encourage you guys to check out is the Arrows and Iron Brotherhood, and this is being put together right now. I'm doing a lot of work behind the scenes building this out, but I want you to stay in the loop. This is going to be our place where we're going to level up as men, become better men together. It's deeper than the work that we're doing here on the podcast. I think we're doing amazing work here, if I'm honest. I really do. I think that some awesome stuff has been happening in our private Facebook group, the Manlihood Man Cave, which everybody's invited to. But if you want to go deeper, if you want to set goals, if you want to grow, if you want to have something more than just, hey, how's it going, man? Conversations. You know what I mean? You know, when people ask you, how's it going? And you're like, oh, it's great. Great, man. It's going good. Busy, but good. Yeah, that conversation means nothing and doesn't help you at all. You want to go deeper? This is where it's going to happen in the Arrows and Iron Brotherhood. And I've got some great behind-the-scenes stuff there for you that you're really going to appreciate and it's going to help you grow. So go to manlihood.com/brotherhood and you can send us your email, and as soon as it's ready to go, we'll contact you and let you know. So please get in touch with us there. And we're going to get right into our episode right after this. Welcome back to the Manlihood Mancast. I'm your host, Josh Hatcher. Listen, the word CUCK is an abbreviation of the word cuckold, and the word cuckold was used throughout history, and it didn't necessarily have the same, I mean, it always had the same meaning and connotation, but I think lately the word cuck has become a little bit less appreciated, maybe a little more hurtful. It kind of rhymes with another dirty word, so I think we have implied a lot more dirt to it than needs to be there. But we're going to talk about this anyway, because it is a word that's often used to describe men who have been spurned by the woman that they love because of his weakness, and then she pursues a sexual relationship from a stronger man. That's the definition of this. That's what this means. Now, there are people who, for some strange and bizarre reason, kind of like get off on this. And to you, if that's you, dude, like, first of all, dude, like, let's not even go there. Let's not even be that. You know, if you have a partner, if you have let's just say it, a wife, if you have a wife, that's built on a commitment that you are there for each other. I don't believe in swinging, and I don't believe in sharing. I don't think that these are things we're supposed to do. And that conversation is probably a different conversation, and I'll let you have that somewhere else. But I do know a lot of men who don't necessarily want to be seen as a cuck. They don't want to be seen as a cuckold. They want to have their wife love them and find them attractive. So how can you avoid being a cuck? How can you become more attractive to your mate? And, you know, I know a lot of guys who have been in that situation where she's cheated on him. And he asks me, what do I do? Where do I go? I don't know what to do. You know, she's having an affair. And my advice to all of those men is the very first thing. And honestly, it's my advice to all men, but I think this really matters in this situation. The first thing to do is to focus on becoming the man you're supposed to be. Focus on improving yourself. Not for her, because that's the wrong reason. Now, it is not necessarily your fault that she sought gratification in the arms of another. But I do need you to ask questions of yourself and ask yourself if there's a reason that you have given her for that. You know, I'm not saying you have to sit there and beat yourself up. I'm not saying that you were to blame. That's the wrong game. We've talked about that before. The blame game has no winner. This is not about whose fault it is. It is about what are you going to do to make this right? And what are you going to do to avoid this happening? What are you going to do to take responsibility for your part? And honestly, this is something that you need to do in every area of your life anyway. So as we talk about this, yes, there might be some things that sound like I'm pointing the finger at you and saying it's your fault this happened. That's not what I mean and not where I'm going with it. And that's the wrong filter to read this through. So I do want you to take personal responsibility. Okay. That's the very first thing. Take personal responsibility for the things that you may or may not have done to contribute to this problem. But after that, and where it really matters most is to focus on improving yourself. And your motivation for it, yes, what woke you up to this is what has happened in your relationship. What woke you up to this is her infidelity. But that is not that can't be your motivating factor for becoming a better person, for becoming a better man. You have to do that because you want to do that. You are saying, I need to be a better man for me, whether or not she is going to stay my wife, whether or not our marriage can be repaired, whether or not any of this stuff. If you do that, if you become a better man, then you'll be the kind of man that can handle whatever happens. Because if you're going to make your relationship work after that, you need to be a better man. You have to be able to be a better man for her. Yes, you have to be a better man for yourself. You have to be a better man for whatever. If it doesn't work out, you're going to need what you've learned as you're becoming a better man to be able to handle the pain and the rejection and the hurt of that. And so if you want to avoid it from the very beginning, you need to focus on becoming a better man, not for her, but for you. Because that's the very first thing. Like, I think that most of the time, one of the prevailing reasons that a woman is looking for an affair or decides to go down that road, it's because there's something that she's not getting. I remember my dad told me one time, always take the time to meet your wife's needs, because if you don't, there's a line of men waiting. I think he learned that from his dad. I think that's something he told me that he learned from his father, and it's been passed down. Take care of your wife, because there's always somebody that'll snatch her right up if you don't. Now, I think that advice isn't complete. I don't think it's the full picture, but I do think it's good advice. And, you know, one of the things she needs is a man that is improving himself and growing and becoming a better, stronger man. A man that can hold his own, a man that can make good decisions, a man that can lead and love, be emotionally there for her and healthy. And if you're not focused on becoming that, she might try to find it somewhere else. So my first advice to you is to focus on self-improvement. If you want to avoid becoming one, start there. Also, if it happens, start there. The next thing that you need to do if you want to avoid becoming a cuck is to meet her needs. So your spouse, that's what she's looking for. That's what she wants from a man, is someone that can meet her needs physically, emotionally, spiritually, sexually. If you aren't meeting those needs, she's going to find something. I mean, hopefully, if your relationship is truly healthy, she will let you know. If you're brave enough, you can ask her, honey, how can I meet your needs better? I think that we all need to be brave enough to ask that question. And there's times when we're not, because we don't want the response that we're going to get. You know, if I am in a place where I'm not confident in myself, I haven't worked on myself, I haven't built up my own self-confidence, my own self-worth, and my own validation, then when it comes time to meet her needs, and when I need to ask her if I'm meeting her needs, I can't even hear her telling me that. I can't even stand it. Because if she tells me, I need you to be more like this, I'm going to take it personal. I'm going to get offended at her. And then that drives a wedge between us. So you need to know and anticipate what her needs are. You need to learn what she needs from you. And that might involve asking, and it might involve you having to be humble enough to listen to what she's telling you. If your relationship isn't at the place where you can have that conversation, start working towards building it to that place. And that, again, if we go back, it starts on you becoming the man that you need to be. The other thing that you need to do if you want to avoid being a cuck is to commit together to guard your family. You know, affairs don't happen overnight. You know, especially in that regard, typically a woman doesn't just go randomly find a random dude to hook up with. I mean, it could happen, but most of the time it comes from an existing relationship where someone's meeting her emotional needs first, most of the time, because you weren't meeting them. Maybe she wasn't communicating her needs to you. That's where you've got to learn to grow and have the kind of conversations where you can meet them. But if you're not meeting them, then she's going to find somebody who will. And it may be innocent at first. It might just be two people having a conversation, and the person at work was kind to her and listened to her and validated her feelings, or at least validated her while she was feeling. And it became what it became. It went too far. You know, you have to work on yourself, get to the place where things are going good enough where you can have the conversations you need to have, and then you have to commit together to guard it. You have to draw boundaries together. This is not you pointing fingers saying, you can never talk to that guy. No, like, that's not how that's going to work. But you do need to say, all right, look, we need to have some agreements on when we can be alone with another person and how, that we don't break. We need to we need to be aware of the people of the opposite gender who we're friends with. You know, I have a lot of female friends that are good friends that I love deeply and care about deeply. And I have conversations with them. Sometimes it's a private conversation, but I'm very cautious to make sure to try to keep my wife in the loop when I can, when it's appropriate, to not put myself in a situation where anything could happen. You know, I would never be alone with a woman in a place where anything could happen. That's the first thing I do to prevent myself from being able to have an affair. And that's something that you both need to try to do together, is to come up with what those boundaries are so that she also is not in a position where something could happen. You know, we could take each other's phones. We know each other's passcodes. We could look through them if we wanted to. I don't, because I trust her, and she doesn't because she trusts me, but we could. And that is helpful. You know, but you have to be able to enforce those boundaries, self-enforce your boundaries, and have her have the same boundaries that she self-enforces, because you have to do it without jealousy and with trust. You know, if you get jealous every time she talks to another man, dude, that's just going to make it worse. If you are not trusting her, that's going to make it worse. Now, if you've had a reason not to trust each other or to be a little jealous, you need to work through that. Honestly, you probably need some marriage counseling, a little more than what you're going to get from here. And I want to encourage you to reach out and find that from somebody if you need it. But don't just live in such a way where, oh, whatever, like, yeah, I can do whatever I want. You know, I think that we're living in this porn and sex-soaked culture that tells you that you can do whatever you want, and that it doesn't matter, and that there's no consequences. And we're also living in a culture that tells us that sex is it's a physical need that like eating, right? And if you're hungry, you should eat. And you should just gratify yourself or be gratified by somebody who, that's all that matters. No, it's deeper than that. It's a personal, spiritual, physical, emotional connection between somebody. And it's meant to be, I believe, in the context of marriage, which is a lifelong committed relationship with somebody. That's what I believe it's supposed to be. And I'm not saying that to, tell everybody they have to follow my set of morals. And I understand that. But in that, we have to recognize and understand that if we're not carefully guarding those relationships, how I behave in my relationship, and if she's not guarding how she behaves in her relationship, then it's very possible that something bad could happen. Very possible that someone could come along and be more attractive than me. It wouldn't take much, But if I want to be more attractive to her, I'm not going to be jealous, and I'm not going to be, I'm not going to not trust her. So you have to build that trust and build that relationship where you can set those rules together for yourself and each other in a way that is respectful. The other thing that we've got to do, guys, is we've got to fight like hell. I don't know if I've used that phrase a lot lately. But what you need to do is you need to fight like hell to create the kind of marriage that overcomes temptation. A marriage full of love and respect for each other, that it's guarded fiercely and protected. It's not full of fault lines and volcanic eruptions and constant strife and struggle. If that's what you're in, then you need to fight like hell to get out of, well, I don't want to say get out of your marriage. That's not my advice to you. My advice to you is to get out of that situation, to rescue each other from that situation and to work on building a relationship that's built on love and respect for each other. And that is what's really going to help you to affair-proof your marriage, to build the kind of commitment with her and to have the kind of relationship with her that she wouldn't even dream of cheating on because you've met her needs. You're the kind of man that is constantly improving. There's nothing sexier than a man who improves himself. Nothing sexier than a man with vision. Do that. And you know what? She'll want you. And if not, then get some help. Like, that's totally okay. Like, if you're finding yourself in this position where she's not happy with what you're giving her, then go see a counselor and work through it. A lot of times, the problems in your marriage probably has nothing to do with you anyway. It has to do with the baggage that both of you are carrying. The expectations that you're not clearly communicating. And sometimes those things have to be worked through with a professional. You sit down with a marriage counselor or even just a couple of really good friends whose advice you respect. Talk through it. Work through it. And it might be hard. Sometimes when it comes to the people that are going through marriage counseling, sometimes it has to get worse before it gets better while you work through the stuff. Like, that's totally normal. But for goodness sake, whatever you do, don't just roll over and let your marriage fall apart. Definitely work hard towards building the kind of relationship where she wants you. If you learn what her needs are, it's not that hard to meet them. It really isn't. When you truly learn what she needs. And if you're meeting them consistently and over time, she is going to be attracted to you. Yes, there's some really simple rules here, like take care of yourself. Get a haircut, Trim your beard up a little bit if you need to. You know, brush your teeth every day. Dude, I can't tell you how many guys that don't. Dude, sometimes I forget. I do sometimes. I'm like, I forgot to brush my teeth. My wife will remind me. Why is she going to want to kiss you if you're not brushing your teeth, dude? Brush your teeth. Wear deodorant. Throw away the holy underwear. Buy a new pair of underwear. Like, those are silly, simple things that we don't even talk about or think about. But you know what? Do a little bit of that. Dress up every now and then. When you take her out for date night, you know, wear a nice button-down shirt or a nice polo shirt if you're not a dress-up kind of guy. Or a really nice t-shirt instead of the nasty one. Heck, just take her out for date night. You know, there's a need there for her to have some time with you. If you've got kids running around the house, dude, help out. You know, change a diaper. Wash some dishes. Now, I'm not saying that just helping out with chores will automatically get you sex. I'm not saying that, but I know for one thing that if there's a chore left undone, she's thinking about that when you're climbing in the sack later. She's probably not even going to be turned on or attracted to you until the thing that needs to get done is out of the way. So if you need to help to make that happen, then do it. But when you learn her love languages, the things she cares about, the things that she needs, and you start meeting those needs, and you start working on yourself to become the kind of man that she respects and admires, you know what'll happen? She's not going to be drawn elsewhere. When you guard healthy, not jealous, not untrustworthy boundaries, not untrusting boundaries, you know, when you guard those boundaries carefully, gently, with love for yourself, but based off of what she needs from you so that she knows that she can trust you and that you know that you can trust her, when you do these things, you build a kind of relationship that can withstand those things. If temptation comes, it's like, whatever, I ain't got time for that. You know, honestly, guys, like, you know, I mean, it's not that I never find another woman beautiful or even a little bit of attractive. And I think there's a difference between beautiful and attractive. I might see another woman and think she's attractive, right? But for me to even dream about cheating on my wife, that's not even there. Like, I wouldn't even dream of putting her through that. And I know that she wouldn't even dream of putting me through that. Like, that temptation means nothing to her right now because we've built something good. We've built something loving and trusting and, yeah, and beautiful and powerful. And again, also, I believe on a foundation of our faith, on a foundation of a healthy, strong relationship. That's what you've got to do. Because if you build it on nitpicking, if you build your relationship on criticism, if you build your relationship on unhealed trauma and struggle in your life, those are open doors, man. Those are open doors. So if you've got that junk, you need to clean out the house, and it might get worse before it gets better. You got to make it work and make that relationship stronger and healthier. And yeah, if you do that, you won't be a cuck. You won't have to worry about it. So you know what you need to do. Have the conversations. Ask her, how can I meet your needs better? Make sure that you're at the place when you can receive that, because she might tell you some of the things you're doing wrong that you need to do right if you ask her. And you need to be open to hearing that so that you can work on it. Because I don't believe that our relationships are meant to be falling apart and unhappy. That's not what they're meant to be. And they don't have to be that. They don't have to stay there. They don't have to fall apart and wither. But they're not going to get better without intentionality. She's not going to find you attractive without intentionality. So set your intentions and then live that out. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you listening. Listen, if you want to become a better man, the Arrows and Iron Brotherhood, go to manlihood.com/brotherhood and sign up, and we'll let you know as that comes together. But in the meantime, also, if you want to grow, connect, build some relationships, have some fun, goof off a little bit, we've got our private Facebook group, the Manlihood Man Cave, and our guys there are interacting and active, and we have a good time. So make sure you join the group. Listen, I love you guys. I care about you. And I'll see you next time.
If you want to be a better man, check out our website, manlihood.com, for blogs, videos, and more from our Manlihood team. And you can also join our private Facebook group, Manlihood Man Cave, where you can meet up with a band of brothers who will challenge you and help you on your journey of manhood. This episode is produced by Hatcher Media for manlihood.com. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes, YouTube, or wherever you're listening to the show. Tune in again for more of the Manlihood Mancast.